Michael Smith. They're the people who are doing the dog and pony show to get on TV. They're the ones being controlled. They're the ones who are not. You brought up. I think you said something about people having a backbone to be. I forget the word that you used, but to be logical. You know, to just have integrity was the word that you used. Just be on TV and to just have that integral, facet about yourself. They're not that. They're the people who are saying, yes, ESPN, yes, ESPN, we're going to do what you want us to do.
So, hence the reason why it's so dull. Now, if they were allowed to say what they wanted to say, that show would be very much different.
It wouldn't exist on ESPN,
Exactly.
though. Yeah.
Therefore, it wouldn't be on TV. So, there is no groundswell on TV because they won't allow it.
But say, for example, the SC6, if it was that, and it gotten taken off the air, right? Would there be? There probably would be, or at least on social media. Would you see the masses of people sort of come up, sort of defend and champion them to try and have their show put back on TV or something like that?
It might not get to that extent, but it'll definitely be a cult following, if you will, to where people are always calling for it, like, damn, bring it back, like NCAA football. Even though, they haven't come out with one in years, there's still people on the ground waiting for the next one. And so if there was a show out there that was getting in the shit, they were talking about some stuff, and the guys were allowed to be themselves, and the viewers could tell, and it got taken off the air, then there would be some type of cult following that I do believe there was like, hey man, bring that back. Hey, y'all make y'all own show. Make a webcast. Make a do blah blah blah. It'll get on.
It'll get on.
It would, if there was some type of thing out there. Because people aren't stupid. People are trained to be stupid. Because as soon as they get stimulated by something intriguing, whatever level of intellectual sittings they sit at, if they feel intrigued by something, they're going to get more into it. So people are naturally intrigued by, children are intrigued by things. They're out in the world investigating 24/7 because they like new things. The mind is the same way. It's just that they choose to introduce us into a new fetish, into a new drug, into a new dance that's gender confusing, and all types of stuff. So these are what they're introducing. There's nothing wrong with introducing new things because that's how things come about. It's just who's controlling the wave of what's new and who's saying what's cool and what's not. So this is the problem that we get into when we start talking about mainstream or stuff like that, or major people, because there's clearly an agenda to only put on certain. You remember telling me, we've heard this for years, people don't want to hear real rap. People don't want to hear real rap. But there were always people asking for real rap on the ground.
Right.
That's why that question was always up.
Right.
So there was clearly a question for, and people wanted real rap. But we will always hear a response of people don't want it. Why? Because of what we would hear on the radio and see on TV. But again, we're not controlling either one of those outlets. So they are controlling the pipeline of entertainment. They're controlling the pipeline of what's intriguing. If you're controlling the only thing that's coming down the pipeline.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just don't know what the answer is, because I don't what has to happen? Does there need to be someone who, like, we had this opportunity before. Like, we had BET when it was owned by black people. We had the opportunity to have an environment in which stuff like that was not only appreciated but wanted. Non-love and hip hop, basketball wives content. We had the opportunity for this. Yeah, like we had Cousin Jeff on BET.
That's what I'm saying.
We had Rap City would have real rap. Yeah. Right? It would.
Right. It had the shit too, but they had real rap.
Right. But that stuff is like, we have, like, what is the end? Like, do we need, like, do you get what I'm trying to get at?
I know what you're saying, but listening, we're not the one in the boardrooms. And even though that, I don't know what happened with that whole BET situation. They got bought out. Now I don't know what happened.
It was the money, man. It was the money. It was Bob Johnson who allowed MTV, or I think the parent company is Viacom.
Hey.
He came in and they saw the dollars. They was like, we'll buy your shit for what, $2-3 billion. He's not gonna turn that down.
Right. So the type of person he is, he would turn it over to a vampire.
Yes.
So he wasn't forced in the first place.
Yes.
So my whole thing is that even though we did have a channel, it's a real touch and go thing, man. Because again, once you're given a certain avenue, you are given a box that you better perform in. And so as soon as you step out, because that's what the whole discussion been about. This is what I was telling you about the other day. Mm-hmm. Is that if you step out of that box, they got guidelines, and as soon as you step out of it, it's a problem. Now, but nevertheless, it got bought out or whatever. And shows like Teen Summit, they had a news program, even though it came on late as fuck and it was boring as shit. They still fucking have one, but it's gone. So they made sure they took out all the news, they took out all the stuff, Teen Summit, all this stuff, the stuff that was getting people on track. My sister watched Teen Summit all the time.
Religiously.
Yeah, she'd come home as soon as Teen Summit's on. I hated that shit. But she was watching it and she thought it was lit. And it kept her mind straight when she got out of school. Mm-hmm. Now when these kids get out of school, now more or less it's no more TV, it's about what's on IG. Mm-hmm. But still, nevertheless, if there is a child who, like my niece, who's running out there and watching Disney Channel, she's watching other 7-year-olds are in relationships. So now she's seeing that these other kids in elementary and middle school who are acting on TV got boyfriends and girlfriends. And they're having quarrels. And it's nothing wrong with a child understanding their sexuality at such a young age, but who's controlling it?
Yeah.
Because the parents are too afraid to talk about such a taboo subject. But Disney Channel isn't. Mm-hmm. And the Disney Channel is now teaching your kids about transgenderism, about same-sex relationships, before your parents do. So the whole thing is that we're dealing, again, with a media outlet who has whatever agenda. You know, an agenda of debauchery. I mean, this is just flat out debauchery.
So you're basically saying that it's not that we don't want it; it's because we have no control over what. So we're essentially being told what we want.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it's just like Walmart or something. I don't know if you don't went shopping lately, but your selections have been cut off. There used to be more brands of pasta than this. Mm-hmm. Used to be more than this than that. It's not that those brands don't exist anymore. It's just that they don't give you the option. So it's either you buy this really expensive one, this kind of one, or get great value. It used to be more of a thing, but now they've limited your selection. And so that's just an example. But again, even then, if Kraft owns this and so-and-so owns this over there, but there's two different boxes, you think that, Colgate ain't got nothing to do with Crest. But it's the same thing.
Yeah. So
it's the illusion of choice gives you the illusion of freedom. Mm-hmm. And so the illusion of choice of things to watch on TV, even though they gave you 500, that's an illusion of choice. If none of them really reflects how you feel.
Right.
Yeah, so this is controlling, this is them doing content control to make sure they control the thought process of people.
Yeah, I guess where it really gets into my crawl and where I get disappointed is we, seemingly are willing participants in this machine.
Absolutely.
And when I say we, I mean, for better or for worse, the people who would be able to speak for us, people like Tyrese and Stephen A. Smith, these types of people. They're kind of people who go along with these agendas, unfortunately, because of the prospect of making money. See, when you introduce money into it, it changes the whole game. Because you don't know where someone's morality ends and when their need for economic freedom begins.
Right.
I don't know where that line is. And so somebody like, okay, I'll give you an example of one person who I think is on that wavelength. A dude on ESPN, Bomani Jones. Mm-hmm. You can call me crazy, but I don't think you'll ever see a Bomani Jones on anything other than ESPN and ESPN Radio, because they will not allow him to be Bomani Jones on TV. If Bomani Jones is on TV, to your point, he will cease to be Bomani Jones. He will be whoever that guy is on that TV station.
Right.
Unfortunately, he's able to kind of curry favor to a certain extent, but he's on the radio. He's not on TV. There are kind of different standards there. Mm-hmm. But think that it's unfortunate that so many people who are in the position to not allow us to be subjugated to sensationalized content aren't fighting that good fight. You know, it's easy for us to talk about how Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed by the NFL, but we don't want to talk about how, you know, an entire generation of black people are being groomed to perceived normal behavior from reality TV. Because there's no other representation of us on TV,
right,
other than someone who's dribbling or throwing a ball.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Or rapping. You know what I'm saying? And there are black doctors, there are black astronauts. You know what I'm saying? There are black scientists, black engineers. We don't know these things because those YouTube videos of that black engineer have 0 likes. But the Tyrese video on YouTube has 200,000 likes.
Again, I agree with that. But, and not to say that the engineer ain't cool. He's just not lit.
Yeah, because I'm just going to use your logic back on you. We're told what lit is.
Agreeable. So here, that's agreed. But let me just say this. That is also true because he's lit to people who think that.
Bro, listen, why can't a black engineer be lit? Listen to what I'm saying though.
This engineer who's got 0 views on YouTube, he's not lit.
Oh, I feel you because we're told he's not lit.
No, because that guy really isn't. He's got 0 views.
Bro, look, listen. What if the guy he's got 0 views because no one wants to see that shit? Because we're told. Listen,
okay.
I'm kind of piggybacking on what you're saying here. Like if it is impressed upon us what we desire to see because of these media agendas, then we desire to see Tyrese and we don't desire to see the engineer. We perceive Tyrese to be lit. We don't perceive the engineer to be lit. Constant messaging has impressed upon us that those people doing those goofy dances in those videos is what lit is.
It is lit.
You see it, okay, but you're doing it. You're actively doing it right now.
But no,
you're saying that you're actively doing it.
All right, so here, all right, damn. All right, because you're discussing this is a subtle thing we're discussing. So it's
I am trying to bring to light the imbalance.
I know, but what because I've gotten to the point to where I believe there's something in the formula. So it works. Reality TV works for a reason. It's sensationalized and all that, but it works for a reason. There's something that they're doing right.
And I've told you what it is. Go ahead. See, I'm trying to use your logic back on you to try and point out a flaw in your logic.
Go for it.
Because even though the messages are being controlled and we're being told what to think, how to feel, what to perceive to be what, at the end of the day, the reason why it is so palpable is because there is an innate, insatiable desire within the nature of people as humans to crave sensationalist behavior.
Right, that's the
and
animal.
To see that on TV.
Right, I didn't disagree with that. That's the animal.
But at that point, it's not all on them feeding us the agenda and making us behave in a way that they want us to behave. It's us being complicit in the formula because we have that in our nature to want that. It's why the engineer video on YouTube gets 0 likes, because there is no insatiable desire for us to crave that sort of thing. It's not sensationalist enough. It doesn't pique our interest.
Again, and I hear what you're saying, but to tie back in earlier to one point, it was just that when you're controlling a pipeline, again, you control what's lit, you control what's everything, and so. In the past, they controlled the pipeline. So at this point, what I was referring to lit was things, people refer to things that are lit that are animalistic. Mm-hmm. That's just, those are the innate things that are just animal. But it's also innate to think.
Yeah.
So, but the innate thing is to just react. It's the easy thing to do. I said that too. Mm-hmm. Because to think, it's a process. But if to just let your animal subconscious mind react, which is what more people are being trained to behave like, to be like animals. So when people start to, that's why I said there's truth in what they put out there on, because if you sat there and you watch the right reality show, you would be into it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something good into what they're doing. Mm-hmm. There's something that catches your eye. And so my whole thing is there's nothing wrong with more or less the formula of certain things. It's just of what they decide to do with the method.
Yeah.
And so there are ways to excite the animal side in you to cause the right kind of anxiety and panic for you to do the right thing, not to incite anxiety and panic in you to do nothing at all, like these conspiracy videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Because they incite fear just to make you scared and just to hunker down in a bunker and not give you tangible things like don't go to the gas station tomorrow.
Right.
Don't go to work.
Right.
Because that's what funds this. And again, a true, genuine boycott of the self. That's how you got to break free of this madness. That's the real answer to all of this. But if we are looking at this monster and this machine and trying to find some type of silver lining in it, it won't happen because they're the ones who created Hollywood. So at that point, they created ESPN, Disney Channel, all this other stuff.
Well, yeah, and a lot of those are single entities anyway. When you talk about ESPN and Disney Channel and all of that, it's one company.
Exactly.
Disney owns ESPN.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that.
Oh, I gotta tell you about the engineer.
Okay, go ahead.
So the engineer, Bill Nye was lit.
Right. Yes.
He was lit, and it was science.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying there's a scientist who's black, who's lit. He's there, and he can break down that science down to us in a way that's like, hey, if he had a platform, we always talk about platforms too.
Right.
If he had a platform to where he was able to pump his same thing, had a catchy jingle like Bill Nye, because honestly, we really like Bill Nye's jingle more than his actual science.
I used to stick around for the show though.
I stuck around for the show too for the wacky shit and him being wacky.
Yeah.
But it was still more or less colors and flashiness happening. It was provided to him. He didn't come up with none of that genius.
True.
It's a script. Well, Bill Nye is lit now. He's not lit. He's a jackass in real life. Just like Kramer.
Uh-huh.
So when you have a script that's written for you, you can be a funny guy.
Kramer.
Yeah, but you can be a jackass in real life. So I just say that to say